Or
Alright, we are live on all of the things. Oh, and there's a D. Also, the fucking meeting today gonna be mad long. Cause
oh boy,
I wrote like a whole damn essay.
you wrote an essay. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's I think it's a total of 6 parts. Maybe more. I don't remember.
So for a meeting on We Gives No Fuck, she wrote a college essay of giving a fuck.
Yes and no. It's a
I'm,
very
I'm joking. I'm
it
joking.
so basically like the whole concept is the shit you do and don't do when you're trying to live the lifestyle of not giving a single fuck. And it's all about
Hey,
this
that's
I
funny because I had that conversation with someone today.
right? I did too. Like that's the whole thing is like you got to stop worrying about how people perceive you. You got to stop trying to compare yourself to other people. You need to focus on just you. Be fucking selfish. And there's a bunch of other shit that ties into it, but I wrote it real smart sounding. It's gonna
You
be fun.
wrote it smart sounding. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, I know. Well, eventually it's gonna get compiled into a book for later, so it's gotta be like academically like reasonable. But that's for a later date. But for today, it's gonna be fun. I expect everybody to interrupt me and make me lose my place in this fucking 1,000 page long thing. And I know
I get in
you.
a hole. I pause and shit.
Just keep your finger right where you're reading. Just read it with your
You know
finger.
how stupid that's gonna look, and then be like,
Do you have a highlighter? Just dot it. You get paused.
Dog,
Oh,
I'm not
I have a
highlighting on
freaking
my
thing that I'm
computer
curious
screen.
about because I've
Oh
actually been
yeah,
trying to
computer.
help a homie with
Yeah.
this. Advice on someone being worried about going into rehab. What would I tell them? Because that's something I've never had to do,
Good.
and they're like
Worried
coming
about
at me
what?
almost in tears.
She's got a homie that's worried about going into rehab.
You know,
How do you?
What's worry? What is there to worry about? It's a safe place to detox where you won't die from DTs. They feed you good. You just don't have phone privileges, and you're in there for a while. And if you feel like leaving, you can leave whenever the fuck you want. They don't hold you hostage.
No, well, she wants to go. She's just like nervous that it's so soon.
Just do it.
She's not ready to stop,
No,
but
she
you're
is.
never
That's the
gonna.
thing. She's scared about
If
the area she's in.
you're in a safe little protection bubble, so
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
what I told
worried,
her. She's gonna be a lot safer.
if you're worried, you're making excuses of why you're resistant to going. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that she's not ready. Of course we're ready, but it's like all or nothing. You got to jump in head first. Like inside, we want to quit all the time, but we keep using. It's that type of thing. You know what I mean?
But
You
yeah, well,
either
I've
do or
had
don't.
conversations
Don't make the
about that,
excuse. Just
so
get in there.
Yeah,
Don't keep going. Like I gotta stay free until I finish this fucking sack off.
yeah.
Like
There,
go.
it's not time for excuses because the only thing that's gonna happen by not going to rehab is you're gonna keep using, or you're gonna get fucking arrested, or you're gonna fucking die.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
that's
gonna
what
be
I
like, oh,
told
I
her.
still
I
got
don't know
drugs
her
and
that well, but
money.
I was like, I don't want you to die.
Right.
That's kind
Yeah,
of what I ended up saying, like blunt.
most treatments and detoxes don't make you to wait to get in. So there isn't like a specific date where you have to wait to go in. So that's more like to
Well,
me sounds like I still have stuff to use and get by with, so I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
want to go, but I'm not ready yet.
Well,
That's
she
all
even
I.
gave me the address to write to her and stuff like that, so I know she's ready. She's just more worried she doesn't have friends to support her.
No,
And I told her, I was like, that's
That's
baloney. You've
part of
got a whole
recovery though.
community to support you.
That's part of recovery though. You make friends along the journey, better friends, healthier friends.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
more normal people that want to do good and do
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah, at this point, it all sounds like excuses because she's afraid of what life is going to be like without her shit a choice.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure because that's not like my
Well,
thing. That's why I was curious
your
because
thoughts
I
are
may
right.
need help on things to actually write her to support her. I
Yeah.
already told her, I
Well,
was like, I'm gonna make you a sweet ass card and send it to you
l-
because
well,
that's
I
all I
mean,
could think of.
a lot of them have like no contact when you go in. Like, she could
Well,
put you on
she
a
gave
list
me
and
an
maybe call
address
you. Yeah, and she
to
might
write
be able
to
to
her.
put you on list and call you like once a week. But you have therapists there. You have all types of people there. You're not alone there, man. That's the whole point of treatment and detox is you have people helping you along the whole way. You have techs, you have nurses, you have counselors, you have all groups, you have all this stuff going on. You're not fucking alone there.
Yeah. I get
Look,
you.
I
Okay,
would have
so
I would have loved the opportunity or had to have insurance and go to treatment instead of going to county jails and prisons. Just saying. Just fuck. I wish
yeah,
I would have
I've
been
known
willing
people that have
enough to
gone that
accept
route.
help if it was offered instead of getting put in handcuffs because I would never accept a fucking thing.
Yeah, this is the time when you have to be blunt about it. When she's sidestepping everything, trying to make every excuse, trying to plan for when it's going to happen, she either needs to jump or fucking accept the fact that she's not going to. Be blunt
Yeah,
with
just
it.
straight
Yeah,
up.
she
Hey,
told me some shit and started like making excuses and worrying about other people, and I nipped that
no,
one in the
no, no,
butt,
no.
and I yelled at her
Yeah,
because I got
Yeah,
pissed off.
exactly. Just be like, hey, either do it or don't. This is your life. Like, it would be good for you to do it. Everybody will be here when you get out. The world won't change that much in 30 days. Like, go save
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
yeah, I
Bottom
told
line.
her I was like, you can
If
have
you're
more
not going to
people, I can
save
even get you
yourself,
more friends.
if you're not going to save yourself, don't, like a lot of people do that walk and dance with you to see if they can get like money out of you and stuff out of you and all this other stuff out of you. It's like, hey, no, go do this and then we'll talk in 30 days. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
No,
Like,
that's the one thing that she's got that mindset that she wants to help others, and I kind of told her back off a little bit on that. Don't worry about me, worry about yourself first. So she's already got that mindset, which is good, but some of the things
well, I
are kind
mean,
of a
you
downfall.
can't help others till you help yourself first.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
I know that one.
with that, it is time to actually start the meeting.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get the recording going. All right, here we are. So today we are talking about the song "We Gives No Fucks," but it's translated out into "not giving a fuck." Not giving a fuck is a mindset that emphasizes disregarding external validation, comparisons to others, and the things that are beyond our control. It involves focusing on what truly matters to you. This approach can lead to greater shit in your life, better happiness, more peace of mind, as well as better self esteem and confidence. By focusing on what actually fucking matters to you and letting go of what you cannot control, you can live a more fulfilling life, free from the stress and anxiety that comes from seeking validation. So, the first thing we're going to actually tackle is what actually matters to you. Identifying what you truly care about is a crucial step in just not giving a fuck. When you know what matters to you, you're able to prioritize that and focus your energy on that and on the things that matter to just you, other than waste it on the things that just don't matter, the things you can just not give a fuck about. The things that make you feel happy, fulfilled, those are great starting places. And identifying the things you don't actually care about. To begin this process, it's important to take some time to reflect on your values, your beliefs, your interests, what you care about at that moment. Ask yourself questions like, what do I value most in life? What activities are dope? What do I believe in? What do I want to do in life? Write down your answers to those questions and keep that in mind. By doing this, you'll start to see a pattern emerge of what truly matters to you. This can include things like your relationship with your homies, your health, your well being, your career, your own personal growth as a person, or a specific hobby or interest. Having clear understanding of what you care about can help you not give a fuck about the things that just don't matter. And so the second part of this would be letting go of shit. Letting go of what you can't control is a necessary part of life. It's also necessary part of not giving a fuck. It involves recognizing that some things are beyond our control and choosing to let them go rather than wasting time and energy trying to figure out a way to control them. This can lead to a better balance in your life. You don't have as much stress, you don't have as much anxiety, and you feel happier and you have more peace in your life because you're not trying to grab the reins of things that just aren't something that you can handle. There's not things that you can change. One of the biggest sources of stress is the belief that we can control everything. We may try to control the outcome of a situation, the behavior of others, or even the way we feel. However, the reality is that there are many things in life we simply can't control, no matter how hard we try. Instead of trying to control everything, focus on what you can control. For example, you can control your own thoughts, your own actions, and the way you react to certain situations. By taking control of these parts of your own life, you can have a more positive impact on your own life and well being without getting bogged down by the things that you have no control of. Letting go of the things you can't control also means just not giving a fuck about them. And when you don't give a fuck about those things that you have nothing to do with, things that you can't control, and just accepting that it is, you no longer have to give a fuck about that. The third part of this would be seeking validation. So, seeking validation from others is a super common trap that many of us fall into. We may feel like we need to constantly prove ourselves to others, or that we may feel like our worth is determined by what other people think of us. However, this issue can lead to a never ending cycle of constantly seeking negative or seeking approval, which has a negative impact on our own self esteem and our self worth. And we end up giving a fuck way too much about what other people think of us as people. And when we don't have this idea of worth associated with us, it's easier to just not give a fuck. The truth is that our self worth should come from ourselves, not from what other people think of us. Fuck what other people think of us. This means focusing on our own personal growth, development, and finding validation in our own achievements and progress. To stop seeking validation from others, it's important to develop a strong self awareness and self compassion. That means being honest with ourselves about our strengths, our weaknesses, and trying to just understand what's actually going on inside of ourselves instead of just trying to criticize the actions and the way we feel about certain things, or judging ourselves by the way that we respond to certain things. It's also important to focus on our own goals and aspirations rather than trying to please others. Pleasing others doesn't make you better. It may make you feel like you did something in that moment, but that's not actually good for you. That's good for somebody else. Service is great. We all do our own version of service work, but being of service to somebody doesn't always end up being fulfilling for you. So, oh, we got more people in. Dope. So, big part of not giving a fuck is just not looking for validation from other people. Being satisfied with the things that we do or don't do and just moving on. So the fourth part is where you're comparing yourself to others. On your own growth, it's important to just not give a fuck. It means shifting your focus away from comparing yourself to others, instead focusing on your own progress, your own development, your own happiness. Be selfish in that moment. One of the biggest obstacles to personal growth is this tendency to compare ourselves to others. We may look at the accomplishments of others and end up feeling inadequate, inferior, less than. This kind of comparison is not only unproductive, but it can also be damaging to our own self esteem, our own well being, our own self image. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, it's important to focus on where our growth is, where our development is. This means setting goals and working towards them, celebrating our own achievements along the way. By doing this, we'll be able to see the progress we're making and feel a sense of pride and satisfaction in actually seeing ourselves achieve something. It's also important to focus on becoming the best version of you. This means developing our strengths, our skills, working and identifying our own weaknesses. By doing this, we'll be able to not give a fuck and achieve our full potential and live a fulfilling and satisfying life. And the fifth part on this is taking shit personally. You know, when you take shit personally, it can be a major source of stress and negativity in our lives. We may feel hurt or offended by things that people say or do, even when they have nothing to do with us. However, this kind of emotional reactivity can lead to feelings of insecurity and self doubt. It can damage our relationships with others. The key to not taking shit personally is to understand that people often say and do things that are a reflection of their own feelings, thoughts, experiences, rather than a direct reflection on us. This means that when somebody is critical or hurtful, it may have more to do with their own shit rather than anything to do with us. To avoid taking shit personally, it's important to develop your own self awareness, your own compassion towards yourself. Being honest with yourself about how you feel and the experiences that you have and how you're going to choose to react in that moment will give you insight as to why people are feeling and saying the things that they do. You know, this means recognizing that our reactions to the actions of others are shaped by our own experiences, our own emotions. It's important to develop effective coping mechanisms for managing stress and negativity, because those are the things that end up reflecting back at you when you start taking shit personally. The last one is fucking mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness is an effective way to cultivate the skill of not giving a single fuck. It helps us stay present in that moment and not get caught up in the worries or stress related to the past or the future. Mindfulness also enables us to let go of thoughts and feelings that are not serving us and may be causing us more stress. Mindfulness is simple, powerful practice. It involves paying attention to what's happening in this moment with a non judgmental attitude. This can be done through various techniques, meditation, breathing exercises, bunch of other shit. When we practice mindfulness, we become more aware of where our own thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations are coming from. This awareness allows us to step back from our thoughts and emotions and respond to them in a more intentional and deliberate way. This can help us avoid getting caught up in that negative or stressful thought. You know, that negative shit that you feel in that same second where most people usually end up exploding. You run into those people that just think for a second and respond calmly. That's a form of mindfulness. It can help us cultivate a sense of self compassion, empathy for ourselves and other. And, you know, when we're more present and aware, we're able to approach our experiences and relationships with homies and lovers, however, with more compassion and more thought than just living on that single second and responding in that very second. And those are the key principles of just not giving a fuck. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and open it back up to the room, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
Okay, since no one's gonna talk, I would say mindfulness is a fun one because you can go so many different ways with that and just freaking everything because that's one that's a pain in the ass, I would say, when you're first learning how to do mindfulness because mindfulness is such a broad thing that you can actually use so many different techniques and learn different skills with it. And that's one you have to, that you can basically build on forever. I can't hear you.
Well, that's why I kept it broad. You can apply so many different techniques. There's not one right way to do any of these things. You know, there's just a handful of things where we point out where most people end up fucking up, where they end up getting too deep into themselves or into their own vain idea of themselves and responding to certain things negatively. The idea of not giving a fuck is literally just being content with you. It's not supposed to have any reflection on others. With this idea of mindfulness being as broad as it is more of a reflection for you to focus in on yourself and find out what it is that drives you, why you respond to certain things the way that you do, and how you could think to have a better outcome of certain situations.